I love the first verse of this.
So, for those of you out in video land, we are in Purgatorio, Canto 10. Now, we've actually worked through quite a bit of this, but we never had a chance to read it full in Italian. So, we're going to start off today. We'll have a full Italian reading, and then we're going to go back and begin the English reading of short passages and discussion on line 92 or something like that. So, all that being said, Desi, you can begin the Italian.
Allora cominciamo il canto 10 del Purgatorio di Dante Alighieri. Poi fumo dentro al soglio della porta che il malo amor dell'anima disusa perché fa parer dritta la via torta. Sonandola sentì esser richiusa e se io avessi gli occhi volti ad essa, qual fora stata al fallo degna scusa? Noi salivam per una pietra fessa che si moveva d'una e d'altra parte, sì come l'onda che fugge e si appressa. Qui si convenne usare un poco d'arte, cominciò il duca mio, in accostarsi or quindi all'atto che si parte. E questo fece i nostri passi scarsi, tanto che pria lo schemo della luna rigiunse al letto suo per ricorcarsi, che noi fossimo fuori di quella cruna, ma quando fummo liberti e aperti, su dove il monte indietro si rauna. Io stancato e ambedue inserti di nostra via, restammo in su un piano solingo più che strade per deserti. Dalla sua sponda ove confina il vano, al piede l'alta rippa che pur sale, misturebbe in 3 volte un corpo umano, e quanto l'occhio mio potrea trarre dale, or dal sinistro, or dal destro fianco, questa cornice mi parea cotale. Lassù non eran mossi i pie nostri anco, quando io conobbi quella rippa intorno, che dritto di saliva aveva manco esser di marmo candido e adorno, d'intagli sì che non por Policleto, ma la natura l'avrebbe scorno. L'angel che venne in terra col decreto dalla molti anni lacrimata pace, che apersi il ciel per suo lungo divieto, dinanzi a noi pareva sì verace, quivi intagliato in un atto soave, che non sembiava immagine che tace, giurato si saria che el dicesse, ave, perché ive era immaginata quella che ad aprir l'alto amor volse la chiave, e avea in atto impresso esta favela. Ecce ancilla dei, propriamente come figura in cera si suggela. Non tener pur ad un loco la mente, disse il dolce maestro che mi avea da quella parte onde il cuore alla gente. Per chi mi mossi col viso e vedea di retro da Maria, da quella costa onde m'era colui che mi movea. Un'altra storia nella rocchia imposta, perché io varcai Virgilio e femmi presso a chi ho che fosse agli occhi miei disposta. Era intagliato lì nel marmo stesso lo carro e buoi traendo l'arca santa perché si teme ufficio non commesso. dinanzi parea gente, e tutta quanta partita in 7 cori a due miei sensi, faceva dir l'un no, l'altro sì, canta. Similmente al fumo degli incensi, che v'era immaginato gli occhi, il naso, e al sì e al no discordi fensi. Lì precedeva al benedetto vaso, trescando alzato, l'umile salmista, e più e men che re era in quel caso. Di contra, effigiata ad una vista di un gran palazzo, Micol ammirava sì come donna dispettosa e trista. Next, please.
I mossi piedi del loco dove stava per avvisar dapre un'altra storia che dice tra Micol mi biancheggiava. Qui vera storiata l'alta gloria del Roman principato il cui valore Mosè Gregorio la sua gran vittoria. E dico di Traiano imperatore, e un vedovella gli era al freno, di lagrime giatte di dolore. Intorno a lui paria calcato e pieno di cavalieri e laguglie nell'oro, sovras in vista al vento si movieno. La miserella intra tutti costoro pareva dir, Signor, fammi vendetta di mio figlio che mort onde io m'accordo. Ed egli a lei risponde, ora aspetta, tanto chi torna è quella, Signor mio, come persona in cui dolore s'affretta. Se tu non torni, ed ei, chi fia dov'io, la ti farà, ed el l'altri bene, a te che fia, sel tuo metin oblio. Und Elior ti conforta, che convene, chi solve mio dovere, anzi chi mova. Giustizia vuole, pietà mi ritiene. Colui che mai non vide cosa nova, produce sto visibile parlare, novello a noi perché qui non si trova. Mentre io mi dilettava di guardare immagini di tanti umilitadi e per lo fabbro loro a vedere. Ecco di qua, ma fanni passi radi, mormorava il poeta, molte giunti, questi questi ne invieranno agli alti gradi. Next, please.
Gli occhi miei, ca mirare era contenti, por veder novitadi, on e son vaghi, voghen dolci, ver lui non furon lenti, non vopero, lettor, che tu ti smaghi de buono proponimento di udire, come Dio vuol che il debito si paghi. Non intender la forma del martire, pensa la successione, pensa cal peggio, oltre la gran sentenza non può ire. Io cominciai, maestro, quel ch'io veggio muovere a noi, non mi sembian persone, e non so che si nel vender vaneggio, ed eliame la grave condizione di lo tormento a terra li rannicchia, sicché miei occhi pria neber tensione, ma guarda fisso là e dis viti chia col viso, quel che vien sotto che sassi, gia scorger, poi come ciascun si picchia. Oh, superbi cristian, miseri lassi che, della vista e della mente infermi, fidanza avetene ritorso passi. Non v'accorgete, voi che noi slam vermi, nati a formar la angelica farfalla, che vola alla giustizia senza schermi, di che l'animo vostro in alto galla, poi siete quasi antomata in difetto, siccome vermo in cui formazione falla, come per sostentar sola io, o tetto, per mensola talvolta una figura. Se vede giungner le ginocchia al petto, la qual fa del non vera rancura. Naceren, chi la vede, così fatti, video color, quando più si ben cura. Vero è che più e meno eran contratti, secondo, c'avvian più e meno addosso, e qual più pazienza avea ni le atti, piangendo, parea dicer, più non posso. Okay. And now we are ready. And Dee, that's we're starting on 92. Is that correct?
Yeah, but
But
Well, 91, really. That would be their logical place.
back a little bit. Um, the back to 31. The angel who came down to man with the decree of peace the centuries wept for, which opened heaven, ending the long ban. That angel is do we know?
Oh, you're asking. I thought you were going to tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Gabriel, bringing the word of her great election.
Well, that would have been the angel Gabriel, who was had made the announcement of the to Mary that she was to be the mother of Christ.
Okay, and then 40, no, that's about her. That's okay. Back up to 52. The about the sacrilegious were carved into that marble. What do you call those?
Well, these bas reliefs, I think one of the commentators called them bas reliefs or bas reliefs, sort of like
Bas
that.
relief, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then the next one, starting with 55, that's where I kind of really got stuck.
Yeah.
7
I think,
choirs moved there before, bringing confusion to my senses with my hearing. I thought, no, with my sight, and yes, they are singing. So the singing that he heard while looking at the bas relief, the pictures of choirs, and then coming up were the group singing later and shortly thereafter.
yeah, I think that Dante is describing three kind of bas relief tableaus which he encounters coming into purgatory. One is a tableau bas relief of the angel's annunciation to Mary, and these are so realistic. I think he's saying that. Then the second one is this tableau of the it's a scene from the second book of Samuel in the Old Testament of David returning the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, or to this tent that he's directed to do, and he's dancing, with very scantily clad before the people, and there's this all of Israel is there cheering with him and praising God and so forth. It's a big celebration. And so I think he's laying out this image of this whole kind of a holy and somewhat, not really profane, but this is sacred dancing. And then finally he moves on to the last one. He talks about, and then the last part of that is where David's wife looks upon David and despises him. And then the
Right.
next part, the third tableau is he is referring apparently to, I guess, Gregory the Pope had made out that the Emperor Trajan was essentially is the symbol or the representative or is the correlation of the unjust judge in one of the New Testament books, a book of Luke, I think, where the woman a woman is pleading for vengeance or justice, and the unjust judge is just, forget it, go away, not going to bother. But finally she prevails and he grants her the justice she's seeking. And so that's the third one, and that's where we end up here at 91.
Right. The
91 to
note
94.
the note I just read said at that point Gregory absolved Trajan, and Trajan is allowed into heaven.
Okay. Well, then that's the story, and he's sort of affirming this in a way that I guess Dante is sort of, and I think writing about this, saying, "Well, look at this; it's really true." So Trajan
Yeah.
is in heaven here now, and so he's
And
been
then we're going to find
along the way.
Trajan in
Yeah,
heaven.
exactly. Watch for Trajan, I guess. So
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm on 91.
Okay.
I'm on, yeah, 91. Okay, that's where we were starting, indulging me. The maker who can never see or know anything new produced that, quote, visible speaking new to us because not found below. And below being prior to the entrance of purgatory, or in inferno, or I don't know.
See, he who on no new thing has ever looked
well, I
was.
think these are tableaus or bas reliefs created by God, I think is what the message is here.
It doesn't really, there's nothing here in the notes.
No, I thought there was
So I
something
don't know.
I thought there was something in Hollander that we looked at maybe last week that suggested these were like, to me, they're almost, I get the impression they're almost like he's almost combining the idea of a Platonic form of these ideal. It's in sort of a heavenly idea of, which is actually capturing the very messages that people have received through in the Bible.
Yeah, and not found beneath purgatory.
Yeah,
Well,
You know,
he who on no new thing has ever looked is God.
yeah,
And he was the creator of this visible language. So he's actually saying God carved these reliefs.
yeah,
Okay.
oh, I thought it, and that's interesting too, because the was God the sculptor?
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
In this case, yep. But in spite of the fact that it wasn't new to God, since he did it, it was new to Dante and to Virgil.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I
But
delight.
that up further up, it talks about a sculptor, Greek sculptor of the late 5th century BC named Polyclitus or Polyclitus. Um, seems to have been the word, his name seems to have been the word for artistic perfection during the late Middle Ages and early Renaissance, because he is often mentioned, probably because he is often mentioned by Aristotle.
mhm,
So, of course, the important art being inspired by the divine is part of what I think Dante is talking about. So on to 94, which is where we had absolutely stopped. As I stood relishing the art and thought of those high images, dear in themselves, and dearer yet as works his hand had wrought, and his is capital H. The poet said, "Look there, they seem to crawl, but those are people coming on our left. They can tell us where to climb the wall." My eyes, always intent to look ahead to some new thing, finding delight in learning, lost little time in doing as he said. Reader, I would not have you be afraid, nor turn from your intention to repent, though hearing how God wills the debt be paid. Do not think of the torments. Think, I say, of what comes after them. Think that at worst they cannot last beyond the judgment day. Master, I said, those do not seem to me people approaching us, nor do I know, they so confuse my sight, what they may be. And he to me, their painful circumstance doubles them to the very earth. Mine own eyes debated when what they saw there at first glance. Look hard, and you will see the people pressed under the moving boulders there. Already you can make out how each one beats his breast. So that seems pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe someone could go on
all right.
from 118. It would be
That'd be
Dee
me.
Dee, John.
Yeah. So are we any more to discuss here then, or should I just read on here? Maybe read to the end or whatever, or a couple tercets or whatever. What's okay. All right. O ye proud Christians, wretched weary ones, who in the vision of the mind infirm confidence have in your backsliding steps, do ye not comprehend that we are worms, born to bring forth the angelic butterfly that flieth unto judgment without screen? Why floats aloft your spirit high in air? Like are ye unto insects undeveloped, even as the worm in whom formation fails. I'll just stop right there because that's a
Okay.
a pretty packed metaphor here of the human as being well, worms, or I guess I think like almost like a chrysalis. It's being transformed into a butterfly on one hand, but why? And he's asking here, why floats your spirit high in air? and you really are more like insects undeveloped, even as the worm in whom formation fails. So he's drawing like I guess this is kind of really how he sees these Christians who are creeping along or maybe swarming along on these stones or whatever that are making their way through purgatory.
Right. These are the proud Christians, which
The
are
proud
being
Christians.
purged
Okay.
of their pride
Yeah.
and are bent low to the ground and are, crawling along almost.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if now to contrast this now, Dante has now led us through the images of these three tableaus or bas reliefs or these sort of almost living paintings or something that are supposed to uh, convey the sense of humility, I think, somehow. And
Mhm.
yet, almost like, is he saying here that these people have failed to grasp that? Or is this something that and are they simply kind of feigning humility in some fashion or just creeping along as if
No, no, no. This is actually suffering. This is the
truce? Okay.
suffering.
All right.
This is
Okay.
the suffering that the proud have to go through.
Okay.
The
Okay.
proud who have repented, now they have to go through an actual
Okay. Yes. Okay.
penance, and this
Very,
is their
very, very valid
penance,
point. Yeah. Yeah. They've
is to
repented and now
crawl
they got,
along under heavy burdens.
yeah. So what do you think? What is Dante saying here as far as the purpose of these tableaus? Because I mean, this is like it's all run in this one canto. He's run these ideas together. And is this a sense? Is this a well? What is this supposed to
I
convey?
think they're separate. I think
What
they're
do other things?
separate issues, John.
When we go back to 80, the widow, I think is Mary, saying, "My Lord, avenge my son." And he answered, "Justice shall be done. Wait only my return."
Well, I don't think
And
we're
but
talking
she's
about.
also talking to Trajan.
Yeah,
Well, I think these are separate vignettes that are going on,
yeah. But
um, and need to be treated as such.
well, but there's some purpose that he has in arranging these and at the very beginning, just before he's witnessing, and before Virgil draws it says, "Well, now let's move on uh, to go towards the next steps that are to take us up." And I think that he does he seems to sort of be distracted by these. And is there some message or some lesson or some idea that's supposed to convey here? That's my question. Is this supposed to give a sense of humility, or does he feel he doesn't feel
I
humble?
don't. I don't think that part of it is actually the humility. But we're talking about the woman.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Well,
part of the humility thing.
I think Dante is paralleling, um,
The true humility.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mary with, um, I think Trajan was finally executed, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
No.
Oh, no. But no, there's at 97, 94, 95,
87.
97, while I delighted me in contemplating the images of such humility and dear to look on for their maker's sake. Then at that point, Virgil draws his attention that the other side, look at the steps, look at the behold upon this side, but where they make their steps. Many people, they would direct us to the lofty stairs. There's a kind of a transition that I'm not it's kind of too abrupt. It's maybe more obvious to others, or maybe somebody else, or maybe to Dante. It's not obvious to me because I think that these images are intended to convey the sense of true humility, and yet uh, somehow or other that against this whatever suffering these people, the people that are now the repentant are going through, it's contrasted with their circumstance. And perhaps I'm taking
I
something
think
from
I think this to me this canto is a little problematic.
okay. Well,
because
see.
in the middle of the canto, he's got this transition.
Yeah, yeah.
So the thing with the reliefs in there, that's like the doorway. Okay.
Right.
And then I also find the woman begging for revenge or vengeance for her son. I find her really problematic.
Well, that's true, but it says,
And almost, yeah, I just find her problematic.
yeah.
There's a good note here from Sayers, the great Roman prince. The legend of Trajan and the poor widow exists in various medieval versions, which also relate how Saint Gregory brought the dead emperor back from hell by his prayers and baptized him to salvation. And then he turns up in um, Paradise 20, we meet Trajan in the heaven of the just. So I think that's what the other is about. It's not Christ that I was thinking it was. Um,
But
Well, here's
don't you find the widow being so close to the section on the proud being purged a little problematic? I mean, the widow, if I can say so, she's really pushy.
yeah.
apparently the legend of Trajan is, and there's another example here, I can't remember, some pitiful soul appealed directly to him and he helped that soul. Apparently he was accessible to humble people
Well,
as
she
part of
wasn't, there was
his,
nothing humble about that widow, I will tell you.
well,
Oh,
that he would have paid attention to her though,
I don't
with
really
her
say
grief.
that, but I think, that keep in mind, I think that this allegory, this tableau is really taken from a New Testament parable of Jesus, who is using this to instruct people about being faithful, if not persistent, and if not overly persistent in prayer and importuning of God. And he's using this to make a point about saying you almost have to, not just knock, seek, and your prayers will be answered, but you've got to keep on and you've got to persist in this, just as the unjust judge is finally overcome, just because he finally gives in. You think that
Um,
God is much more merciful than that, but you should not be less importunate than this widow. And
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I just
yeah,
find it
yeah,
problematic personally. I find it
yeah. Well,
problematic.
and
You
now
know,
Hollander,
how can a person begging for vengeance
yeah. Well, I get that
be
point.
humble?
I find that's problematic. I disagree with that. Yeah, because that's not anything. It's like I think the widow's pleading for justice, not for vengeance, and so that's an unfortunate. That's Dante's bad, I guess, right there.
It may not be anything bad on Dante. I'm just not sure why he would do it.
Well, it says Hollander in his comment about this part says that, and he refers to some other prior person who he's agreeing with this person, Francesco de Buti, was of the opinion that just as those who are prideful are so against their superiors, their equals, or their inferiors, just as those who are prideful are so prideful against their superiors, their equals, or their inferiors, so those who are humble may be so in the same relationships. Thus, Mary is humble before her superior God, David before his equals, the priests, and
Mhm.
Trajan before his inferior, the widow. So this is what Hollander apparently uh, is taking from this, which is he sees some merit in some other commentators'
Mm,
point
okay,
on this.
okay.
Uh, uh, so he
Yes,
starts.
well, I will have to humbly submit that for
Okay,
me to question the wisdom of Dante in his own poem is
okay,
not very humble of me.
no, okay,
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. But
okay, okay.
it's in
Then
Stairs, this example of the angel is about the Annunciation and God's humility in stooping to become man, and Mary's humility in accepting her divine burden. So maybe it's awkward in some way in terms of the poetic rendering of Dante's idea.
Yeah, I just
Okay, well,
look, I would say that this canto, unlike some of the, it just seems to be a bit of a hodgepodge.
well, well,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But maybe
it's
it
for sure.
wasn't when Dante was writing, or
Well,
maybe
so
it was.
yeah, if I
But
could,
I mean, once we are through the door, and once we've crossed the steps with the reliefs carved in them,
yeah,
and we get to the point where we're seeing all these people bent over with a burden and they're close to the ground, then I know, okay, fine. We're in the realm of the of people who were
Right.
proud, who are now being purged. So that's what the purgatorio is about, is to be purged of your sin. In this case, they are being purged of the sin of pride. And they're literally taking the metaphor that you lower yourself by lowering or being lowered. That's how prideful people are purged. That's all clear. It's the relationship between the transition through the door.
Well, Trajan doesn't go through the door. Trajan is taken, as I read it, what I've imagined, I guess, taken from limbo to heaven, leaps over
Yeah,
purgatory.
that Trajan salvation comes later. Um, okay. Anyway, enough said. I'm going to bite my tongue.
all right. Well, I guess
No, I didn't
yeah.
mean for you to bite your tongue.
No, I'm biting my tongue because I think I need to bite my tongue because I can't. I don't think I'm going to come to total clarity on this one
Well,
this time.
I would commend you take a look at Hollander's commentary on this whole part of the line 94 to pretty much like the end. Because he's
94, starting at 94.
yeah,
Okay.
and because he does talk about this, and it has a lot to do with
Okay.
pride, and there's pride and the virtue and the vice being compared and contrasted. And there's a lot of commentary about the art involved in this too.
Okay. Okay.
But we don't have to to linger on this here. So maybe we could read on then if we want to.
Who is the next Rita?
John Dicio.
That would be Decio.
What number is what line?
Uh,
127.
yeah, there you go.
127. Why floats aloft your spirit high in air? Like are you ye unto insects in development, even as the worm in whom formation failed, as to sustain a ceiling or a roof in place of corbel, oftentimes a figure is seen to join its knees unto his breast, which makes of the unreal real anguish arise in him who sees it fashioned thus, beheld if those when I had done good hand. Thus as the true is it, they were more or less bent down, according as they more or less were laden. And he who had most patience in his looks, weeping, did seem to say, I can no more. But they say in the comments that these people are carrying heavy blocks of rock. But I
Right.
can't see in the text. I can't see this in the text.
I think it's only the reference to where they're looking under the stones and they don't see the souls because of the stones at first. It's only when you start looking beyond it, you can see the souls, I think, bearing that these are rocks, I guess, or stones.
Yeah, just the last phrase say the person, the soul is saying, I cannot anymore because
Yeah,
it's
too
heavy,
much.
too much for him.
Yeah,
Right. It's bending them down.
We can understand it indirectly.
yeah. So I think that's the image as to sustain a ceiling or a roof in place of corbel. Oftentimes a figure is seen to join its knees unto its breast. So these are people who are almost like crab walking along with these rocks on their backs.
Like the caryatides.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a William Blake thing of people under a weight that have their knees up to their chest.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is that pride is the weight
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
because they were proud, that's a burden.
Yes,
Yeah.
the sin is the proud, to be proud. No?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Well, that's certainly a very pregnant idea. The pride
Well,
being the weight of
you
a rock.
may have seen things like oh, I forget. There's a Bergman film, with people who are carrying crosses and lashing themselves as they go down the road.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was all, they were scourging themselves.
Yeah. The seventh
And, that-
seal. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think that had a lot to do with repenting from one's pride and
Oh yeah. Well, that's interesting. We don't make such a big deal out of pride. Pride is almost like a virtue in our culture, I think.
Well, I think pride, even though that's the word that's always used, is probably the wrong word because that can be a positive thing. We have words available to us like arrogance,
Yeah.
haughtiness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I know what you're saying, John. I think, but I don't.
I mean, if an author, I'm proud of uh, this book I wrote, or I'm proud of the service I did. It's
Yeah.
the word
Yeah.
itself isn't automatically negative in
Yeah.
Yeah,
English.
the word I hear a lot is entitlement, feeling entitled.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know if the medieval mind made that kind of nuance or distinction. Maybe that's our problem in a way with sort of maybe that's our problem today is that we still are kind of struggling with that old connotation. So we look for other words to try to draw that out to draw a finer distinction. Say, well, I'm proud of what my daughter or my son or somebody did, or proud of what I did as opposed to, I'm just somebody who's like, I think the image of arrogance, which certain people come to mind, but just that idea of just a sort of, of almost like somebody who's just, who's very egotistical, I guess, is really another kind of
Ego.
selfish and egotistical, maybe. That's
This
related to that.
proud, this
It
proud,
feels they are entitled
Entitled, yes, as
to
you put it, yes, you're
take,
exactly right.
like
Yeah,
in those days, what the poor people worked for to take it away from them
yeah,
and leaving hardly any for the poor people because the
right.
poor people were their serfs or
Yeah.
worked on their land, were their servants. Yeah.
What were you say, Decio?
this proudness maybe is related to people to be snobbish and also arrogant.
Arrogance, yes, very much so. Yeah.
and believing certain people are entitled and other groups are not, that persists, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also, well, he brings out something here too, though. I mean, the one thing that lurks behind all this is that I think uh, we're often blind to although our own faults, you might say. It's a primary example of how easy it is to be blinded to your own, to be excusing of your own faults, and to see this in others, I guess. And pride is a prime example, I think, of maybe. I guess I'll confess to that. That it's easy to see in others that maybe I have some of that in my own heart. So this is it's a difficult vice, I guess.
Yeah, they're all still justifying their unfair behavior.
Right. Yeah.
They think they were being good,
Yeah.
correct,
Yeah. Yeah.
fair, or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do we want to read the next canto, or are
Yeah,
we
maybe we
still
should
in
move
this
on to that
one?
because I just looking ahead a little bit. It looks to me like this is part of a continuous kind of a thought that moves on into the next cantos, or at least the next
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pride is 10 up to 12.
Yeah.
10 to 10 and 11 and 12.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a prayer at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
Um, should I
Okay,
read the prayer? You want to do the Italian
well,
first?
okay,
What?
so are we moving to 11 now?
That's what I think. That's my vote.
I agree.
All right, so we're at 11. Well, if we're gonna do 11, then maybe we should go through the Italian and the English readings
Yes.
of the whole thing.
Yep.
The prayer, it's fairly long, and I think it might be good to read the introduction
Okay,
or not. I don't know.
It's 12
go ahead,
lines
Dee Dee.
long.
Is it agreed? Should I read the
Yes,
introduction?
yes, go ahead and read the
Okay.
introduction.
Canto 11, the first cornice, the proud. As the souls of the proud creep near, the poets hear them recite a long and humble prayer based on the Pater Noster. When the prayer is ended, Virgil asks one of the souls hidden from view under its enormous burden the way to the ascent. The sinner, who identifies himself as Umberto or Brandesco, instructs the poets to follow along in the direction the souls are crawling. He recites his history in brief, and it becomes clear that Dante means him to exemplify pride of birth. The conversation between Dante and Umberto is overheard by Odoriso de Ogobio, who turns in pain and speaks to Dante, explaining his sin of pride of talent, the avidity of the artist for preeminence. Odorisi also points out the soul that struggles along just ahead of him as Provenzano Salvani, once warlord of Siena, who is being punished for his pride of temporal power, though he has been advanced toward his purification in recognition of a single act of great humility performed in order to save the life of a friend. Odorisi concludes with a dark prophecy of Dante's exile from Florence.
Mm. Mm.
That's one thing that makes Canto 10 actually unique is that we do not have any of these characters, these specific characters that Dante is familiar with.
Yeah. Oh.
But in Canto 10, it's all the examples are very abstract.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was missing in Canto 10.
No
Okay.
personality.
All right, so shall we go ahead and read the Italian and then read the English?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so Decio, you want to begin Canto 11?
E allora leggemmo il canto 11 del Purgatorio di Dante Alighieri. O Padre nostro, che nei cieli stai, non circoscritto, ma per più amore che ai primi effetti di lassù tu hai. Laudato sia il tuo nome e il tuo valore da ogni creatura, come è degno di render grazie al tuo dolce vapore. Venga a ver noi la pace del tuo regno, che noi ad essa non potem ma noi, se ella non vien con tutto nostro ingegno. Come del suo voler gli angeli tuoi fan sacrificio a te cantando Osana, così facciamo gli uomini dei suoi. Da oggi a noi la quotidiana mana, senza la qual per questo aspro diserto a retro va chi più di gir s'affana. E come noi lo mal che aven sofferto, perdoniamo a ciascun, e tu perdona benigno e non guardar lo nostro merto. Nostra virtù che di leggier si adona, non sperimentar con l'antico avversario, ma libera da lui che si la sprona. Quest'ultima preghiera, Signor caro, già non si fa per noi, che non bisogna, ma per color che dietro a noi restaro. Così a sé e noi buona ramogna, quell'ombre orando andavan sotto il pondo simile a quel che talvolta si sogna. Disparmente angoscianti tutti a tondo, e lassi su per la prima cornice, purgando la caligine del mondo. Se di là sempre ben por noi si dice, di qua chi dire e far per lor si puote, da quei che hanno al voler buona radice, ben si di loro attar lavar le notte e portar quinci, sì che mondi e lievi possano uscire alle stellate rotte. De, se giustizia e pietà vi disgrievi tosto, sì che possiate muover l'ala, che secondo il desio vostro vi lievi, mostrate da qual mano in ver la scala si va più corto, e se c'è più di un varco, quel ne insegnate che mener tocala, che questi che vien meco, per lo incarco della carne d'Adamo, onde si veste al montar su contra su voglia e parco. Le lor parole che rendero a queste che dette avea colui, cui io seguiva, non fur da cui venisser manifeste, ma fu detto, a man destra per la riva con noi venite, e troverete il passo possibile a salir persona viva. E se io non fossi impedito dal sasso che la cervice mia superba doma, onde portar convieni il viso basso, con testi che ancor vive e non si noma, guardare io per veder se il conosco e per farlo pietoso a questa somma. Io fui latino e nato da un gran tosco, Guglielmo Aldobrandesco fu mio padre. Non so se il nome suo giammai fu vosco. L'antico sangue e l'opere leggiadre di miei maggior mi fersi arrogante, che non pensando alla comune madre, organ uomo evi in dispetto tanto avanti, che io ne morri come i sanesi sano e salo in campagnatico ogni fonte. Io sono Umberto e non pura me danno superba fe che tutti i miei consorti e la tratti secco nel malano. Next.
E qui convien io questo peso porti, per lei tanto che si soddisfaccia, poich'io no fe tra vivi, qui tra morti. Ascoltando chinain giù la faccia, e un di lor, non questi che parlava, si torse sotto peso che l'impaccia. E videmi conobbe me chiamava, tenendo gli occhi con fatica fissi, a me che tutto chin con loro andava. O diss'io lui, non sei tu odorissi l'onor d'Agobbio e l'onor di quell'arte, che luminar chiamate ed in Parisi. Fra te di seli più ridon le carte, che penne leggia franco-bolognese, l'onore tutto suo e mio in parte. Ben non sardio stato si cortese, mentre ch'io visi per lo gran disio, de l'eccellenza mio cor intese. Di tal superbia qui si paga il fio, e ancor non sarà qui se non fosse, che possendo peccar mi volse a Dio. O vana gloria dell'umane pose, con poco verde in su la cima dura, se non è giunta dalle tate grossi. Credeti cimabue la pittura, tenerlo a campo e ora giotto grido, sicché la fama di colui sicuro e scuro. Così ha tolto l'uno e l'altro guido, la gloria della lingua forse nato, che l'uno e l'altro caccerà del nido. Non è il mondano rumore altro confiato, di vento cor vien quinci or vien quidni, e muta nome perché muta lato. Che voce avrai tu più se vecchia scindi da te la carne che se fossi morto, anzi che tu lasciassi il poppo d'indi, e a che passi milani, che più corto, spazzei l'eterno con muover di ciglia, al cerchio che più tardi in cielo è torto. Next, please.
Colui che del cammin si poco piglia dinanzi a me. Toscana sono tutta, e ora appena in Siena sen pisciglia. Or era sire quando fu distrutta la rabbia fiorentina, che superba fu aquel tempo sicomora e putta. La vostra nominanza e color d'erba che viene e va e che la descolora, per cui ele ecce della terra escerba. Ed io a lui, tuo vere dim min cora, bona ultima, umiltà e gran tumor ma piane, che chi e che de qui tu parlavi ora. Che lei rispose, Provenza salvani, ed è qui perché fu presuntuoso a recar Siena tutta alle sue mani. Ito e coseva, senza riposta, poi che muore. Cotal moneta rende a soddisfar chi è di la troppa osso. Ed io, se che lo spirito già attende, pria che si penta, lo della vita, qua giù dimora e qua su non accente. Su buona orazione lui non alta, prima che passi tempo quando visse, come fu la venuta lui la vita, quando viveva più glorioso, disse, liberamente del campo de Siena, ogni vergogna disposta, s'affisse ed lì, potrà l'amico sua di pena, chi sostenia nella prigione di Carlo, si condusse a tremar per ogni vena. Più non dirò, se sicuro so che parlo, ma poco tempo anda, che tuoi benzine faranno sì che tu potrai ch'io sarò. Quest'opera te tolse che confine. Ok, English. Didi, are you not the first English reader?
Are we starting at the beginning?
We'll start in the English.
Okay. Shall I read the prayer?
Yeah, let's read the prayer.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Our Father in heaven, not by heaven bounded, but there indwelling for the greater love thou bearest, thy first works in the realm first founded. Hallowed be thy name, hallowed thy power by every creature, as its nature grants it, but to praise thy quickening breath in its brief hour. Let us come to that sweet peace of thy reign, for if it come not, we cannot ourselves attain to it, however much we strain. And as thine angels kneeling at the throne offer their wills to thee, singing Hosanna, so teach all men to offer up their own. Give us this day thy manna, Lord, we pray. For if he have it not, though man must strive through these harsh wastes, his speed is his delay. As we forgive our trespassers the ill we have endured, do thou forgive, not weighing our merits, but the mercy of thy will. Our strength is as a reed bent to the ground. Do not thou test us with the adversary, but deliver us from him who sets us round. The last petition, Lord, with grateful mind we pray, not for ourselves who have no need, but for the souls of those we left behind.
Yeah.
That's the prayer.
Okay. So, thus for themselves and for us good furtherance, those shades imploring, went beneath a weight, like unto that of which we sometimes dream, unequally in anguish, round and weary all, upon that foremost cornice, purging away the smoke stains of the world. If their good words are always said for us, what may not there here be said and done for them by those who have a good root to their will? Well may we help them wash away the marks that hence they carried, so that clean and light they may ascend unto the starry wheels. Ah, so may pity and justice you disburden soon, that ye may have power to move the wing that shall uplift you after your desire. Show us on which hand toward the stairs the way is shortest, and if more than one the passes, point us out that which least abruptly falls. For he who cometh with me through the burden of Adam's flesh, wherewith he is invested against his will, is chary of his climbing. Okay, the next reader, please. Decio.
Okay, the words of theirs which they returned to those that he whom I was following had spoken. I was not manifest from whom they come. But it was said, to the right hand come with us along the bank, and ye shall find a path possible for living person to ascend. And were I not impeded by the stone which this proud neck of mine doth subjugate, whence I am forced to hold my visage down, him who still lives in and does not name himself, would I regard to see if I may know him and make him piteous unto this burden. A Latian was I, and born of great Tuscan. Guglielmo Aldobrandeschi was my father. I know not if his name were ever with you. The ancient blood and deeds of gallantry of my progenitors, so arrogant, made me that thinking not upon the common mother. Next, please.
All men I held in scorn to such extent, I died therefore, as know the Sienese, and every child in Campagnatico. I am Umberto, and not to me alone has pride done harm, but all my kith and kin has with it dragged into adversity. And here must I this burden bear for it, till God be satisfied, since I did not, among the living, here among the dead. Listening, I downward bent my countenance, and one of them, not this one who was speaking, twisted himself beneath the weight that cramps him, and looked at me and knew me and called out, keeping his eyes laboriously fixed on me who all bowed down was going with them. Oh, asked I him, art thou not Oderisi, Agnobio's honor, and honor of that art, which is in Paris called illuminating? Next, please.
Anne, your turn to read, Anne.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Brother, said he, more laughing, or the leaves touched by the bush of Franco Bologne. All his, the honour now, and mine in part. In sooth, I had not been so courteous while I was living, for the great desire of excellence on which my heart was bent. Here of such pride is paid the forfeiture, and yet I should not be here, were it not that having power to sin, I turned to God. O thou vague glory of the human powers, how little upon thy summit lingers, if it be not followed by an age of grossness. In painting, Cimabue thought that he should hold the field, now J. Autu has the cry, so that the other's fame is growing dim. So has one Guido from the other taken the glory of our tongue, and he perchance is born, who from the nest shall chase them both. Naught in this mundane rumour but a breath of wind that comes now this way and now that, and changes name because it changes side. What fame shalt thou have more, if old peel off from thee thy flesh, than if thou hadst been dead before thou left Papo and the Dindy? Next reader, please.
It's Duncan. Unmute yourself, Duncan.
Duncan, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My mistake. Oh my God. Okay. Ere pass 1,000 years, which is a shorter space to the eternity than twinkling of an eye, unto the circle that in heaven wheels slowest. With him who takes so little of the road in front of me, all Tuscany resounded, and now he scarce is lisp of in Siena, where he was lord. What time was overthrown the Florentine delirium, that superb was at that day, as now 'tis prostitute. Your reputation is the color of grass, which comes and goes, and that discolors itself by which it issues green from out the earth. And thy good speech fills my heart with good humility, and great tumor thou assuagest. But who is he of whom just now thou spakest? That, he replied, is Provenza Salvani, and he is here because he presumed to bring Siena all into his hands. He is gone thus and goeth without rest. Ere since he died, such money renders back in payment he who is on earth too daring. Back to thee.
Didi.
Didi? Is Didi still here?
Yeah, what line was, where did you
127.
stop, Duncan?
127.
You start at 127, and
Okay. And I, but if the souls that do not mend their sinful ways until the brink of life must wait below before they can ascend, unless the prayers of those whom God holds dear come to their aid, the period of their lives, how was he given license to be here? At the peak of his life's glory, said the ghost, in the Campo of Siena, willingly and putting by all pride, he took his post, and there to free his dear friend from the pains he suffered in the dungeons of King Charles stood firm, although he trembled in his veins. I say no more, though you may well feel I speak in riddles. It will not be long before your neighbor's actions will reveal all you need to know to fathom what I say. It was this good work spared him his delay.
okay.
The next canto must continue with that story.
Yeah. Pride is 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, yeah. I guess this is maybe a comment is worth mentioning. I guess it just well, at least occurred to me that it's interesting that pride is being kind of a well, I don't know if that's a cardinal sin or whatever. It's not a virtue, but it's not certainly not punishable by damnation to in the inferno. So these are people who have repented, but they're still full of pride, and so that's the sin that you can basically maybe that's the minimal threshold sin or maximum you can basically enter purgatory with in Dante's cosmology or eschatology or whatever you call it.
Well, it is a major sin. I mean, that is
Yeah.
what Lucifer is in hell for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, anyways,
anyway, we shall continue next week.
okay.
We
Yeah,
will
are we on
come
next
back.
week? Next week is an
Oh
American
yeah,
holiday,
okay. So make a
Thanksgiving Wednesday.
decision. I'm good with whatever.
Do you want? We can meet if we want. I mean, I don't know if I can. I'd be happy to be here. But what does everybody else think? There's, I
I
guess,
will I will open it up and we'll
okay.
see who
All right.
comes
We'll see who shows up.
and
Okay.
we'll do whatever we do.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't be a good idea to keep going because I'm sure some of you will be caught up
Yeah.
in Thanksgiving things. But I expect that some of you will show. I mean, last time I checked, there was no Thanksgiving Day in Ireland.
Right.
No.
Or Brazil.
And I'm pretty agnostic when it comes to holidays of all sorts.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Oh, thanks everyone. We'll, I guess, maybe probably see you next week then.
Okay, very
Okay.
good.
Okay.